know that you loved your partners before you met them? I really wonder how this works in real life relationships. Anyways, my name is Theodora Komiano. It's time for Let's Talk Relationship right here on Prime Morning. Get ready to ask all the questions that you have in relation to preparing yourself towards marriage. And on the 12th of August, there was a great event, a breakfast meeting that happened, and the topic for discussion was becoming Mr. and Mrs., the preparations that you have to go through to become a wife, to become a husband. And there were seasoned personalities on there that shared their diverse opinions in relation to this topic. It was hosted by our very own Adam Knight Tay, who is the host for Home Affairs on Joy FM, and she doubles also as the programs manager of Joy FM, and she's seated with us this morning. Good morning, Adam.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I see you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm excited that I'll be interviewing you today.
You're looking very good.
Thank you. You're looking great as well. And
I'm happy that you hosted me. Feels nice.
Yes. Thank you. And the second guest is Ariel, the wellness coach. She says the wellness coach is her surname, so yeah, let's leave it like that. Ariel, the wellness coach.
Hi,
good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm great. And so viewers, the conversation is about starting, so please get your phones, go on Facebook, type Joy Prime, go to the comment section and start sending in your questions in relation to things or what you have to do exactly to prepare yourself towards marriage. In case you missed out on the events that happened on the 12th of August, well, we're going to give you a few tips here and there as to what exactly you missed out on. One question that I've been asking when it comes to preparing yourself for marriage is there anything like being ready?
You can never really be ready.
You can never be ready.
No, you can never really be ready. However, you can prepare yourself well enough with information that will help you on the journey. Because, you've heard a lot of relationship counselors and coaches say that it is the only institution that you're certified before you actually even begin the journey.
Okay.
Right. And so, yes, Bible says, for lack of knowledge, my children perish.
Yeah.
And so you will need the knowledge. But to say that I am fully well prepared such that when I go into marriage, I won't have any challenges or I won't have to do any work. That one, my answer will be a no, because you will have to keep working at the relationship right from the beginning. When you get married, you have to keep working at it until, death do you part. So you can be prepared, but you can't say that I have done it all, I've ticked all the boxes, I am ready to go into it and go and sleep and it is blissful. No.
There's nothing like that. Okay, now let's start with becoming Mr. and Mrs., the events that happened on the 12th of August. We had seasoned personalities like Uncle Ebo White speaking. We also had the First Lady of Royal House Chapel. Yes, Mrs. Rita Kranche Accra also speaking. Now, what were some of the highlights of the discussions or the topics that were brought up that day? For those of you who missed, this is for you. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll take us back a little bit into how we even came by this. It's the first edition of the Joy Family Forum. We're going to be having a series of, these for discussing different issues. But this particular one, 5 weeks ahead or 5 weeks before the 12th of August, we had been having conversations pointing to people who were single and then planning to get married. And Ariel had been on almost all the conversations.
Right.
We've talked about, have you been accepted? We've talked about what are you doing that you shouldn't be doing while you're courting? We've talked about, we've got into red flags and all that. And so we thought that we'll crown it on that day with a very big forum breakfast meeting, also to allow people to be able to interact with us, ask questions, and, have a very good time while learning a bit more, right? So some of the key issues that came up, we talked about communication. We had conversations about sex. We had conversations about technology and how it is really infiltrating into marriages, relationships, and causing people to be paying attention to the whole world and not paying attention to their partners. We looked at health, which is one very key aspect of it. there are people who get married, they wake up and they are also shocked because I didn't know you had this condition. I didn't know you had this. I didn't know you had this. At the end of the day, we just saw each other, we liked each other, we fell in love, and then we are married.
We are married.
You wake up and you realize that, oh, apparently you had all of these issues. And trust me, right? Some of those issues can only get worse in the marriage because there's nowhere to go again. You're in it. And instead of beginning your relationship by enjoying it, you start enduring it right from the beginning. But I believe that together, let's endure the world, but let's enjoy ourselves. That's what I believe in.
Okay.
Right? Yes. A lot of things will be thrown at us.
Yeah.
But when we are together and we are enjoying the company of each other, we are able to endure everything else that is thrown at us. But I shouldn't be enduring you and you enduring me. And those are some of the things that we talked about. And communication for me was the biggest. In that, if you're not talking, you're not solving anything.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with
Yeah.
anything. And so you will have to talk about every single thing. Ask the relevant questions and be sure that you are going into the right marriage. And it also begins with you. It also came out very strongly. You will have to first access yourself to find out, am I ready for this journey? What boxes have you ticked for yourself, your values? How ready are you? And such that you're looking for somebody to come complement your life, you know. And Ariel will tell you, about the fact that you shouldn't go into a relationship wanting to go and totally depend on the other person for your happiness. You will have to be a holistic individual first. It makes it easy for you to now coexist with somebody because that person is also coming in with their individual selves. And so for me, it will start with self-assessment.
Okay.
How ready am I?
Right.
Am I ready to start sharing this life with somebody? Because remember, once you're married, it's not about you anymore.
Yes.
The language changes from I to we.
We.
You know? If you are planning to get married right now, you come to work, say 4 or 5 a.m., you will need to have very detailed conversations with your partner. And by the time you're having conversations, depending on your values and your choices, you just may end up saying that I may not be able to do the morning show again because it's not about you.
Yeah.
So we had conversations around all of these things. And trust me, our patrons were very excited.
So I know that there were over 100 people present.
Yes. We registered about 150 people. Tell you, on the 11th, I had a lot of phone calls. In fact, I felt very sad turning down over 40 phone calls because we're last minute people, right? So everybody now calls, can I get a ticket? Can I make a reservation? We didn't have any more seats to make reservations. So please, next time we announce, kindly book early.
Make sure you book early because and the series is not stopping now. It's going to continue. Now, Ariel, like Edna mentioned, you've been a part of the series for a while now. Now, looking at all the topics that have come up, the discussions that have gone on and all that, what would you say should be, at what point would you feel as an individual and say to yourself that, I think I'm ready to accommodate somebody, to live the rest of my life with this person, to share a part of my life with this person? At what point do you think that somebody can come to that conclusion?
It is an individual thing, and one of the things we spoke about at the forum that bears to what you're asking is what you shouldn't be compromising when it comes to becoming Mr. and Mrs. And when you are at the place when you know I don't compromise, it actually sets the pace for who you actually chooses and how you go into your relationship. So when you don't compromise your individuality, who you are, you know how to be yourself and authentically show up without hiding who you are from people just because you want them to accept you. I think that is a fair basis for me to say you have some a sense of self.
Okay.
A sense of self. When you know you have a sense of self, you know yourself, that is a good place to say, I'm ready to do this because I'm not going to let go of who I am. I can be authentic of who I am and show myself fully to this person I choose to live with. Because most of the time when we compromise, that is when all the things begin, because you are not yourself and you think your partner is not treating you well, but you keep showing up in a way or accepting things because you still want to keep this person. So a sense of self and ownership of individuality is where you can start from and say, from this place, I know who I am. I accept myself. I know what I've invested in myself, and this is what I'm looking for. And when I see it, I will know it. But when you don't know yourself, you always think, this may be it. This may be it. What if I don't grab this? And that is where it starts from us being so dependent on one person and all the heartbreaks, because we know, we can see the red flags, and yet we want to hold on because we think we have to undervalue ourselves to accept someone. So the first place I would say is very, very important is a sense of self. Accepting your individuality and not compromising on that gives you some, sense of freedom and confidence in making your choices for who you are going to spend the rest of your life with.
I was excited when Eden mentioned technology being a part of the discussions for the day, because one thing that I've noticed on social media is, especially we the young ones and those of us who are not married, things that are going on social media are influencing our decisions a lot, especially those that are in regular relationships. So you see that counselors, relationship coaches, they have diverse opinions about the red flags to look out for, what you shouldn't entertain in a relationship or in a man, especially from the woman's perspective. And then it's like, you shouldn't accept just anything. But then if you say you are not going to be accepting anything, before you realize you'll be there and you're growing old and you don't have anybody, to be in a relationship with, or you'll be 50 and you're all married. So one question that really bothers me is, if you see we keep on chancing these things on social media, we keep on seeing these things, how can we be certain? Because you mentioned who you choose. Yeah. Well, in your submission, you said who you choose. So whom can we choose? Whom are we supposed to choose? How can we say that this is the person, that is not the person? Because nobody is perfect.
No. Nobody is perfect, and you yourself, you are not perfect.
Yes.
Uncle Lebo mentioned something that is a foundation for me when it comes to two people coming together, that we all need to be holistic, whole people. So don't put the work on the other person coming. Are you yourself coming up with your plate full of the things you're expecting the other person to come with? Or are you trying to fill yourself up? As in taking care of your physical health, your emotional health, knowing how to debrief your emotions, having your occupational endeavors going for you, focusing on where you want your life to be going as an individual, or you're just waiting for this person to come before you start thinking. There was a time in my life, a guy approached me, and when he started talking to me, first thing that came to my mind was, oh, he could be the person that I could go along with to achieve this. And then, I realized the belief system I was working with.
Okay.
He's not your dream. He can't see that vision that you see. Yes. So are you yourself aligning yourself and being a whole person, socially, emotionally, psychologically, and then you will meet that person too who is on that same path. Now, it may be difficult to know who is on that same path with you, but that is why we need to understand that as individuals in marriage, there are times that you have to adapt to people that you meet. There may be a lot of, maybe 80% of who you want in that person, but maybe 20% of what you may not want. You may also have 50% of what they want and 50% of what you don't want. So it won't be all perfect for you, but as an individual, you start complementing each other. Your strength may start influencing and improving this person, and their strength may also start influencing. But the work itself is you yourself putting a lot of emphasis on developing yourself to become better for the person, so that the person will see how you influence them. And then they will also become their best self to influence you. So if you don't put some, responsibility on yourself, but you are just being there waiting for the right person, if the right person comes, are you the right person for them? So you are asking, question. How do I know this is the right person? How do you know if you are the right person? And that is where it starts from. So always be the right person as well. So that when the right person comes, they also see that you are the right person for them. And it's not something to be afraid of, to focus on yourself.
Okay. Adam, let's come to the red flags. Balancing, the percentage that she was mentioning, 80%, 50%, 20%. You see all these red flags in this individual, but you know that you're also imperfect and all that. So how can we be able to balance things in such a way that you know that you can be compatible to this person or not?
Okay, so I have a principle when it comes to red flags.
Okay.
I don't discuss red flags in very general and broad terms. What I see in a relationship as red flags, you may not be seeing as red flags.
Right.
So I say that if I can tolerate it, if 10, 15, 20 years down the lane, nothing changes, will I still be able to live with it?
Okay.
If I will be able to live with it, then it is not a red flag for me. So anything, I actually have a book on red flags, you know.
Okay.
Uncle Ebu just finished forwarded it, so
Okay.
we'll be going into publishing very soon. And I am very passionate about it because someone will tell you, if a man smokes or a woman does this, the red flag, it's a red flag. I don't discuss red flags those ways.
Yeah.
They're very individualistic, and sometimes they are deeper than the things we mention. Do you understand? And so, yes, the person does A, B, C, D. I don't like it. You're asking yourself, am I just not liking it, or it is something that is really bothering me that I wish they make changes to? Okay, if they don't change, will I still be able to live with it? Especially so when I don't ignore it and I have brought it up and we have discussed it. If they don't change, will I still be able to live with them for the rest of my life? And I keep giving this example. If you're 30 and God decides that He's granting you 40 more years to live, that takes it to 70.
Yeah.
So it means you'll be living with this individual for the next 40 years. If they do not change this particular habit for the next 40 years, are you good to go with it? If you can't live with whatever it is that is bothering you as an individual, then that is a very big red flag, because the red flags, they grow and they become, Mama Rita said, they become what? Signboards in the relationship, and they are in your face and nothing can be done about it. And that means you're going to endure. So for me, red flags are very individualistic. And it starts from you, your values.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I can tolerate.
Yeah.
Of course, you will be making compromises in your relationship and in your marriage. You will be making sacrifices. You won't have to disagree to agree.
Yeah.
You can't go in and say that, me, I am A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and nothing changes about me. Oh, no, you are not Jesus Christ. Even God, when we pray, sometimes He changes His mind.
Right.
Yes.
So you will be making compromises.
Yeah.
You will be making sacrifices. Do you get it?
Yes.
But the ones that's deep inside of you, you know that if this thing doesn't change, I won't survive this marriage. And you have brought it up. You have discussed it. You've escalated it. And they also are entrenched about it. You will go in holding your peace for the rest of your life because it won't change.
It won't change.
And if it bothers you, then don't go into it.
And then there are some people that are great at hiding certain traits of theirs. Let me give an example. I have a friend whom dated her now husband for 5 years. They were in a relationship. And for 5 years, she didn't know that her husband or her boyfriend at that time was a serious mama's boy. Serious mama's boy, as in breakfast time. They are married now, so instead of him to eat breakfast that she has prepared, he prefers to drive to his mother's, have breakfast with the mom.
It is never true that she didn't know. Listen, no. And again, you're pushing me into this book I have written, because the title of the book is They Were Present. Listen, everything that threatens your marriage, everything that threatens your marriage, or that will most likely destroy your marriage, was there when you were dating.
Wow.
You just didn't pay attention, or you ignored, or you just refused to look at it, and you told yourself that, oh, eventually, when I get married, it will change.
I'll change it.
Nothing will change.
Yes.
And a good person will tell you, nothing will change. It was there.
Yeah.
She just was waiting probably to become the Mrs. and then begin to put barriers in place. And in the marriage, that's a very wrong time to start putting boundaries and barriers. You should have discussed it. You would have seen it. What are you saying? I am a mama's boy. And my mother knows that I am beginning to date somebody. Come on now. They would even want to see you.
Yes.
When you go and visit, the way they will treat their son, talk to you, the comments they will pass and everything, you should have seen it.
Yeah.
You were just too in love to pay attention to the things that were going to hurt your marriage.
That's the truth. She was just too in love.
So it is not true that
she was
didn't
blinded.
Know. Oh, no. Nobody should come and say that.
We always think when we marry, we can change our partner.
Ariel, hold on with that. Viewers, so we are having the discussions on preparing yourself to become Mr. and Mrs. or wife and husband. And so please get interactive with us on all social media platforms. Go on WhatsApp, or you can save the number. It is 055-157-5757. 055-157-5757. Or go on Facebook and type Joy Prime. Go into the comment section and send in your questions. Adam Naite is your host of Home Affairs and the programs manager for Joy FM. And Ariel, the wellness coach, is also seated. And so, Ariel, you were
Yes, I was just, commenting on what Adam was sharing, that she knew, she saw it, but she thought that, when we marry, I'm going to put in boundaries.
Yes.
And what we say to ourselves when we are in a relationship, which I did the same thing, is I love him so much, and when I marry him, he will change. Or I will change him.
Yes.
That is the perception we have, that we can change people. And it's a wrong premise to start to go into marriage, that what you're seeing, you will be able to change the person. What I have seen that I've helped a lot of people to do is how to actually change themselves to that same situation for it not to affect their well-being.
Oh,
yes.
So they end up doing the same.
Not doing the same thing. Don't want me to coach you right now.
I need coaching.
So it is not about changing the person when you marry. It's about changing yourself when you marry the person. Because seeing it, you do see it. But you think, oh, it's nothing. Oh, when we get married, he will change. That's what we keep telling ourselves. And these are some of the things we do because we haven't owned our individuality. So we start reducing our value just to take it, though we are seeing it clearly that this is something that I can't live with. And as Adam is saying, if you know you can't live with this for the rest of your life,
don't go into it.
Then don't accept it. Because telling yourself that when I meet him, I marry him, then he will change is a lie. It's a lie we tell ourselves because change is a very personal and individual thing. Until you see yourself and accept yourself, go through certain thought process, introspection, reflection, and self-awareness to come to that decision that I am changing because it doesn't serve my highest good or serve the version of myself I want to become. Anybody who tries to push you to see it becomes your problem, becomes somebody who doesn't like you or is worrying you. So change is a very personal and individual journey that we all have to go through. And it's, what we are all doing actually, change and growth all the time.
Yeah.
So to say you will change someone actually ends up forgetting to work on yourself.
Right.
You know, sometimes asking to change people is also an act of selfishness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This is who I am. This is what I have been. You forget that there are things that you also do that the person probably is not very, excited about. But you go in not focusing on yourself, not thinking about how to adapt to the situation and make it work. And your whole aim is that I want to change this person. Into what exactly? Did you not see who they were before agreeing to marry them?
Right.
And now that you're the missus and you're wearing the band, this is when you want to start trying to make changes. I have a very, unconventional example,
Okay.
For instance, when I was dating my husband, right? And I go to their home, and you'd realize that they're very easygoing people, right? My father-in-law, he's late now, and my in-laws are both late. You could actually be in the living room, and he'll just walk past from the bedroom, probably just in his briefs, and then he just walks past. And I am like,
oh my God.
Because this never happened where you came from. Can't just sit in the living room and you're there. He comes to sit down, he puts his towel on, just cover his chest, and when he gets up, he's going away. Mama does same. I am like, what is happening here? Because that never happened in my space. And I never talked about it. Was I afraid? Because I was uncomfortable, but I never said anything. Fast forward, we got married. And they would visit. My father-in-law usually would visit very early in the morning, like 6:15, because that's when you will catch us, right? Because we're preparing to go to work. The moment he rings the bell, usually I'm the first person to meet him. You meet him. How are you? Where's your husband? Oh, Daddy, please sit down. Let me go. Oh, no. He's in the room, right? He just walks past you straight. Even if my husband is in the bathroom, he goes straight to the bathroom, goes to say what he has to say. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, he's out. He goes back.
And he goes back.
And he goes back. Now, here's where my unconventional red flags come in. So at this point in time, I call my husband and I sit him down. Then I begin to school him. Why is it that your father, or when you're till today, Auntie Philo, hello, if you're listening, till today, my sister-in-law, when she visits my home today, and my husband is in the bathroom, she'll go and sit on the potty and be having a conversation with him. That's how they grew up. Wow. And when I was visiting their home,
I saw it.
You saw it.
Did I complain?
Said nothing.
No, I didn't say anything. So now that we are married, I come and start giving orders. Mrs. Giving orders. Do you know what will likely happen?
What?
My husband would like to make me comfortable.
Yes.
And then he also wouldn't want to break his family.
Yes.
So here's what he will most likely do. So he'll be going to them very often. So that they won't come very often.
So they won't come very often.
So that you can have your space. Then gradually, before you realize, you are breaking the family front and you are beginning to ask questions. Hey, now your people, they don't come here. Or they are having family meetings and you are not invited. Because you put the person in a very uncomfortable place where I don't want to offend my parents. I don't want to offend you. So I need to manage the two situations. I sat back and I said to myself, Madam, you saw it too. You knew this is how the people they live. And you never talked about it. Why are you now coming to complain? And it is not like I decided to tolerate it. But then, this is a family you have come to be part of. And they see you as part of them because that is who they are. Then I ask myself, is this thing killing me?
Exactly. I was about to ask you
what
that.
What is it doing to me?
What's it doing to you?
It's just my sister-in-law comes, she comes to your home. She calls me Mama Glow. Telling me, she'll go to your kitchen. I don't like her. Let me cook food for us to eat. She'll go to the bucket and I'm going to come and sit down in the house and we'll sit down and we'll eat. This is who the people are. And they showed it to you when you were visited for 4 years. You didn't talk. You are now coming to do madam. So you see some of the problems we bring upon ourselves. If you didn't talk about it and you try to now deal with it with iron hands in the marriage, you will end up losing your relationship.
All right, Adam. Okay, so let's enjoy snippets of what exactly you missed at becoming Mr. and Mrs.
Men will put up our best behavior when we are courting. So at the point that you are courting, you are having clashes all over the place. Today, you believe that after he has married you, he's not going to change. He won't change.
It's on the premise that you yourself sound and is considered to sound mature. Otherwise, when it suits him, you are his daughter. You can't tell me what to do. I'm the man. I call the shot. My friend, sit down. Who are you? You call me what? Hey, what? 33-year-old girl. You call me 66-year-old man asking me why I am. That I haven't come home. That is 12 o'clock. And say, when I met you, was I not living my life? You know, it's a problem. Again, there's also a problem with social interactions. All his friends are his age mates. So which of your husband's friends are your friends? And trust me, they are not going to throw their friend under the bus. So whatever he does, wherever he goes, they will all cover up for him. Then there are the other women who wished that it could have been with them. So you realize that most often than not, his female friends normally don't sometimes respect you. You know, they talk down on you. They treat you in some way. They look at you some way. Normally, his male friends will always be nice because you are their baby girl.
What really is the difference between submission and then respect? And what is submission? Because there are times some people say submission is when the man talks, you
plus half. That is not the formula for marriage. Half by half meaning somebody who has become less than who he is or she is, plus somebody who is also compromising.
All right, so these are some excerpts of what you missed out on becoming Mr. and Mrs. One lady was talking about submission. It is one major problem that a lot of people have, especially we women.
Why should it be a problem?
We don't really understand what submission is.
Submission is not subservience.
Okay.
You understand? A lot of us think that when they say you should submit, but yes, I want to submit to my husband.
Okay.
I want to worship him. I want to make him feel like a king. I want to big him up. You understand?
Yeah.
And it must, you see, why did you even marry the person if you didn't love him enough to be able to worship and serve him? Why did he marry me if he didn't love me enough to care for me and love me and make me feel like a queen?
Yeah.
And so if we are marrying the right people, this should not be a conversation.
It shouldn't be.
This should not be a conversation. We shouldn't be arguing about me. I mean, waking up in the morning, and if I am probably on leave and I'm not going anywhere, I make breakfast, I polish his shoe, and I don't know how to iron, so. The last time he said he was teaching me, I said, it is my own age, you're not going to teach me how to iron. I don't like to do it. And do all the things I have to do. Take out your laundry, fold them and all that. And when the person sees it, the person is so excited. And
So you do that willingly without looking at it as a chore.
Yeah. But why should it be? Why should it be? So you go into the marriage with a tussle, right? We're already competing with each other.
Yeah.
We're already at loggerheads with each other.
Yes.
I want to prove a point to you. You want to prove a point to me. That's when I don't see why I should submit to you. But if you were marrying the right person, it shouldn't happen that you, the man, you have, and that's where a lot of the arguments come from. You, the man, you have come back from work, and then there probably isn't food in the house, and you can raffle something together, and you're waiting for your wife to also come back to do it. But if I know that I didn't marry a slave for that matter, once I come home, if I can't cook, I love my husband for that. He won't cook. He's an Igbo boy. He knows how to cook everything, but he won't. He says he will not cook, so he won't cook. But then, Adam, oh yeah, sure. Oh, Dabi, okay, Charlie, I'm coming. He'll buy food. He'll bring. We'll sit down, we eat. There's peace because nobody is not a slave here. And if if you're marrying the right person, submission and love, headship and submission, and you should know whichever way that the man is the head. Especially so in a situation where you're having conversations, and now we are at a standstill, right?
Yeah.
We're not very sure which decision to make. At that point in time, you should be woman enough and allow your husband to be man enough to lead. Yes.
It's my time.
You should allow him to lead. But why did you marry him?
Yes.
Why did you marry him if you are not ready to follow his leadership?
Right.
Why did you agree to marry him? If he can't lead for you to follow, why did you marry him? I ask. Why did you marry him if you can't let him lead? At the point where you want to do something, okay, let's do it this way, let's do it this way, let's do it this way. At some point in time, you, the woman, should be able to back off and go like, hey, babe, you're the man here. Make the decision and let's go. He can make the decision and it might be wrong, right? If it is wrong, that's not when you come back to come and say that I told you so. No.
Right.
Listen, depending on how much of the leadership mantle you respect and give to him, he is able to come back to you and tell you that, hey, I think that I made the wrong decision. Let's try yours. And I'm sorry for leading us in this direction. And you should marry the right person. And you will enjoy marriage.
Then I think that should be the goal.
A man should feel
Marry
safe
the right
in a
person.
woman's hands.
Okay.
Not judged, not condemned, not, told to his face he's a weakling. Men and women are different. I have a daughter and a son. I treat them differently.
Okay.
I can be anything to my girl, but I treat my boy with a different kind of emotions and guidance. Because a man wants to feel safe to show himself. If he'll feel he'll be judged, he won't show himself.
Okay.
So like Adam is saying, if even he takes the decision and it's wrong, if he feels safe with you, he feels, accepted as he is. Not that when he makes a mistake, it's always thrown at him as if he's weak. Everybody makes a mistake.
I was going to ask, what if the mistake is constant, it's consistent, it keeps on happening?
It still starts from how you treat him when he makes one mistake.
Right.
Because if you always try to make him feel he's not intelligent, he'll always be trying to prove himself. And so he won't let you come in. So you need to let him feel you trust him, he's safe. Even if he makes a mistake and comes to you, you can all come together to solve it. Then, anytime he makes a decision and it's wrong, he can say, oh, Adam, this time, Charlie, what do you think? And you share your thoughts, and it's okay. Let's do it that way. So it becomes a sharing. It becomes a sharing. Not one person saying it has to be my way. A man will never gives you his full self to know his.
Because he'll be scared that
he'll be scared.
You will know my weakness and try to use it against me. So I will show it to you.
But you need to let him feel safe in your world. You're safe to be who you are. You're safe to make your mistakes. I like you just like that, you know. And that's love and submission. It's easy, and I like how our lady pastor Rita said it. It's just respecting him. It comes down to respect. Respecting his decision, and even if he makes a mistake, knowing a good way through love, understanding, forgiveness, compassion, to go back to him and say, we've hit this. How do we go about it? Give him back the mantle again. How do we go the next stage? And then he will, from that space, he feels safe to say, what do you think? Once he says, what do you think? Won't you say what you think? So I think it comes to us and it's communication. We don't learn how to have effective conversation because we all come trying to defend ourselves. Everybody comes with like, I have to be the one to prove that I know how to do this right.
So this has reminded me of a friend I have. And he's in a relationship, a regular fiance-fiancé relationship. And so he told me that the main reason he decided to be in a relationship with this lady who has a child before they went into a relationship, said he compromised because the lady has a way. He said, oh, you know me, I am wild, I'm loud, I get angry quickly and all that. But this lady always has a way of talking to me when I'm angry. She has a way of communicating with me. And so that alone has overshadowed whatever flaws that he might like, she being a born one and then all that. He's not looking at that. But then just for the fact that she's able to communicate with him in a very cool way when he's angry and all that. So he feels safe.
But who says that it is a crime to be a born one?
It's not a crime.
There's nothing wrong.
Right.
Things happen. Life happens to people. And life happens and you have a child. So what? That should become a stamp on your forehead. And then everybody says that you're a born one, so they should run away from you.
I think we had that conversation on Strong and Sassy some time ago.
I mean, I'm not sure that's the focus of the conversation. Some of these things offend me. It is no problem if you found somebody who already... Come on. My sister had how many kids? 4 or 5 children and lost her husband and then met a man who married her, took all the children in and loving her the way she should be loved. So when you're meeting, like we said, when you're meeting the right person, after you have done the work, you know what your own vulnerabilities are. Okay, you need to accept your vulnerabilities and accept your values. You understand? And be ready to know that, look, because you're vulnerable in certain ways, the person you're meeting also has their own vulnerabilities. And so you will have to learn to be able to accommodate. One of the things that I will say is that when you meet a person, an individual who is insecure, that one run. Yes. When they're insecure, run. Because their insecurity can make them kill you.
Right.
I mean, insecurity is a big subject.
It's a big subject. Okay, so what would be some of the basic traits that this individual would show that you need to flee from?
An insecure person can't trust.
Lack of trust.
That's the first thing. They can't trust. They are overthinkers. Okay. Their mind is always, so you tell them that I am going to the market. They have already sat down to calculate the distance from your house to the market.
And where you're supposed to
and they have factored in traffic and everything and expect that, okay, if you went at this time, adding traffic and everything to it.
You're supposed to be back at this time. Yeah.
If you come back 30 minutes late, they have already thought for you why you are coming back 30 minutes late, and no amount of explanation you give will make any sense to them.
Yeah.
And that becomes a major flaw for you to them.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
They have created it for you.
Yes.
And there is nothing you will do. So for such a person, for the rest of the relationship, you will have to keep working to prove yourself. And it is tiring. You will lose yourself in that. So the first thing to notice, a human being who can't trust. And how do you build a relationship or a marriage without trust?
Yeah.
So if the person can't trust, they can't accept your answers in any way, and it always has to be their way. Otherwise, you're saying nothing. That one, you will, like Ariel said, it is, for me, only on that premise that you will see that because you want to keep them, you will have to lose yourself to be able to keep them. And that will make you very, very miserable.
Right.
Because I've gone to the market, and then I realized that, oh, where I am, I haven't seen this friend of mine in a very long time. So let me just quickly pop in. Even when you send them a message that, oh, I just decided to pop by Asidro's place because I haven't seen her in a long time. There's a problem.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me that when you go to the market, you will be passing through here and doing this and doing this? But I am an elderly person for crying out loud. I set out and I realized that, oh, I have to do this along the line. They never accept it.
Yeah.
And this is because they're insecure.
Yeah.
Because if I am very confident in myself and I am very secure, I should allow you to be.
Yes.
Give people room to live. Until you are able to prove beyond all reasonable doubts that they are not trustworthy people.
Right.
Otherwise, the work falls on you, who is trying to always prove yourself to this person to show them that I wasn't lying, I am true, I am this. And before you realize, okay, you would have to give up on everything else just to be that good person in their sight. That one is very tiring.
It's very
and for
tiring.
such a relationship, I would advise my sister, I will advise my brothers, I will advise anybody at all to say that you will lose yourself, you will be miserable, you will be unhappy, and there's no point in being in that relationship. The only time you're happy is when you're doing their bidding in the relationship.
Oh. Everything
That's the
they
only
say,
time.
you're on it.
They have opinions on everything you want to do. Everything. They have their opinion. And when they give you their opinions and you don't follow through with it, it means that you haven't accepted the way they love you. It's a very difficult one.
One other thing with that insecurity and trust thing is when they lack trust, they become social insecure as well. You can go out with them and somebody looks at you or talks to you, and that becomes a problem when nothing has actually happened because they are insecure. And social insecurity is when everything they see around you, I mean, they have a problem with it. I've had a client who said, even when somebody sees me and they smile at me, or we go to somewhere and somebody, admires me or gives me a compliment, it's a problem. But how do I control how somebody sees me?
Yes.
It means you want me to just disappear, It's very serious when you are in a relationship with insecure people.
Okay. And one other bit, they're also very suspicious. Always very suspicious of you. You can never be right in their sight.
Yeah.
And that's choking. And it's a big problem if you have fallen in love with this person, right? You're in love with them and they're insecure and you always want to prove to them that
because you're scared to lose them.
I was right all the time. So because of that, Isidra, if you like to wear these shoes and just because he doesn't probably like silver shoes or she doesn't like them, you will have to give up on wearing them. Silver pair of shoes and always wear black ones because that is what makes them happy. And this is where losing yourself comes in, because you would have seen that your emotions are pegged up if you wore a thing like that. But no, they will give you 1,001 reasons why wearing this thing is wrong, wearing this doesn't make you this, wearing this doesn't make you that. And then before you realize, okay, everything I have to do, I have to please them.
You've lost yourself.
And sadly, those rules don't apply to them.
No. they live as they want to
But
live.
the rules apply to everybody, not to them.
Yeah.
So an insecure person, that
just
one,
flee from them.
Yeah.
Flee from them. Okay, so we'll come to the takeouts from the conversation, the takeouts from the breakfast session that happened. But is there a number of years that you have to be in a relationship before you get married? Is there anything like that you can get to know somebody for 2 years? So after 2 years, you can get.
I don't want to have
This
this
question was asked on. I have platforms, and every day we have something we discuss. And on the relationship discussion day, they asked this question: how long do you date someone before? I said, as soon as it's very, if you start today and it's very sweet and you like the person and the love is so good, just go for it. Because, people have studied and gone for years and it still didn't work. People meet and just marry and it still works. So it's an individual thing.
Okay.
People said, okay, you need to go 1 year at least to know the person. Some people meet 3 months, 4 months, and it's working for them.
Yeah.
I think decision-making is key. Decision-making is key. And how do you make decisions? From information. Where do you get information? Knowledge. Where do you get knowledge? Studying. Learning.
Okay.
So personal development is key.
Okay.
When you have the facts and the knowledge, you don't need 10 years to know that, I'm where I want to be.
Okay.
If a coach, I tell you, wait 6 years, that is not you. So decision making is key in life. Every day you're making one choice, it's a decision.
Yeah.
So if you are crowdsourcing all the time and just going back and forth thinking, recently I had a revelation. People think too much, they don't make a decision. Think, make a decision, move.
Yeah.
Make your decision. So hey, make your decision.
Make your decision. right. So and then let's go through some key takeouts from the conversation, the session that happened.
Okay.
And then,
so I'm sure that the takeouts are everything we have been talking about.
Yes.
Make sure that you're ready yourself.
Yeah.
Your values and your vulnerabilities are right in front of you, and you have to be very honest with yourself that this is who I am, me. For instance, right? You accept that. You accept that you are a lazy person.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and pretend. I am a lazy person. And know that you can't be a lazy person and have a beautiful marriage, because there are things you have to do. You can't be lazy and raise children. So accept that you're lazy and start thinking about ways to improve upon yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're waiting for the person to notice that you're lazy and start telling it to you, then you become offended. So you haven't been totally honest with yourself. So that self-introspection and that honesty with yourself is very important. If you're a womanizer, tell yourself that I know that I am a chaser. You are not supposed to go and tell anybody. Sit in front of the mirror and admit it to yourself that I am a chaser. But then, and also remember that no woman wants to be with a chaser, right? And so what would I have to do to improve upon this aspect of my life such that when I meet the right person, I don't end up hurting them?
Yeah.
So the work begins with yourself. For me, I always say that introspection and that honesty with yourself was one of the key takeouts for me. Also communication. Communication. So if you're communicating right, that's when you're able to meet somebody and within 2 months you know that you're ready to marry the person. If you're communicating right, you are able to make decisions, because, and remember that communication is not just talking to that person. You have to communicate with yourself as well. Yeah, I believe in the self thing. Me. This is who I am. This is what I can take. This is what I can't take. And I have to be honest that I have these gaps. I have these flaws. I have these weaknesses. How do I fix them such that I am also a perfect person to this perfect person I am looking for?
Yeah.
When you set yourself right, then it becomes easy. When you meet the person and the person also has flaws, you are able to mirror yourself again and say, I also do. I also know I have flaws and I'm working at it this way. And when you admit to the person that, look, I know that I have one very big weakness here. I like to eat in bed, but I'm changing. And you know that I am going to be living with a partner and sharing a bed with a person who wouldn't probably like to see biscuit crumbs and things in their bed. But this is a weakness you have. Sometimes just bringing it forth and talking about it and things like that will help you people begin to bond and set the relationship right before you enter into the marriage. Okay. So for me, self-introspection and being honest with yourself is key. Communication is key. And in communication lies all the other things.
Yeah.
In communication lies all the other things. Let's go on our social media and let's read some comments. My name is Richard and watching this program live from Asante Jabing. Is it that the youth today refuse to learn from the old? My father, who is 80 years, and my mom, who is 70 years, were perfect couples their days. Let's learn more from nature, okay? The man who wants to press the toothpaste from the bottom whilst the woman press the middle, and you can solve this and call it a red flag. This thing is very true. Okay, next one. Good morning. You're doing a good job. Please, about insecurity. What if your partner has demonstrated untrusted behavior before? Solomon from Winneba. Okay. Hi, fantastic. Good morning to you all. I'm listening to you live from Kumasi. Thank you very much. I am a guy of 30 with high BP who can last in bed, but want to marry, but fear to tell my new girlfriend because of trust issues. Hey, I think yes, like every
health condition, you have to share. You have to share.
This one says, "Good morning, you guys. I'm really enjoying the program. I never knew my wife has another side of her just after we got married."
Yes.
So from NK, okay. All right, and so viewers, thank you so much for sending in your comments on our social media platforms. This is where we end this conversation. And before you go, when are we having this again? When are we having?
It will happen, but currently we are promoting the Joy Christian Forum.
Okay.
And we are asking, our big question is chastity and morality among the youth in today's world.
Right.
And that's what we are looking at from the Christian perspective. It's happening on the 28th of August. It will be live on Joy FM. It will be live on all our social media handles, and would want people to follow. But before I go, just a second, let me say a very big thank you to the people who supported us on the Joy Family Forum. Shape Healthcare, they were there and provided medical care to some of our patrons. Marine Noel Spa and Salon, Goba Kente, and Niche Expressions by Dado Kofi. They were all there to support us, and I'd like to say a very big thank you to them. You all did a great job. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Ariel, final submission.
Oh, my final words to say to whoever is going to become Mr. and Mrs. is always know the background of your partner, their upbringing, and just try to accept where they've come from and know the differences. Differences are not red flags. It's just how they've been socialized.
Okay.
So just understand the socialization, and it will give you some clarity in the individual person you are dealing with. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ariel. Thank you very much, Adam. And so the conversation, the topic for discussion today on Let's Talk Relationship has been becoming Mr. and Mrs. The preparations towards it. And my guests today have been Adam Naite, who is the host of Home Affairs on Joy FM, and doubles as the programs manager of Joy FM as well, and Ariel, the wellness coach. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Have a wonderful morning.